The story of Pope Leo XIV begins not with a humble birth or divine calling, but with a dark and twisted web of secrets, lies, and ancient power. From the moment Robert Prevost was thrust into the Vatican's orbit, his path was not one of piety or grace. It was one of ambition, mystery, and the quiet manipulation of a centuries-old institution. The very same institution that, for millennia, has been shrouded in secrecy and intrigue. How did a man with such a mysterious past rise to one of the most powerful positions in the world? What truths are hidden behind the ornate robes of the papacy? And most importantly, what will happen to humanity when the dark secrets of the Vatican, long buried beneath layers of false teachings and centuries of lies, come to light? In this video, we will uncover the chilling reality behind Pope Leo XIV's rise to power, the conspiracy theories surrounding his true intentions, and his disturbing ties to a shadowy organization known only to a select few. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about the Catholic Church, the Vatican, and the man who could change the world as we know it. Before the name Pope Leo XIV was ever uttered, there was only Robert Prevost, an enigmatic figure with a murky past that seemed almost tailored for the papacy. Born into a family with mysterious connections to the highest echelons of society, Prevost's early life was cloaked in secrecy. There were whispers of strange rituals, occult practices, and connections to the very organizations that had controlled Europe for centuries, an elite, unseen hand that guided the fate of nations. But how did someone with such an uncertain background rise to prominence in the Vatican? And why was his journey marked by so many strange occurrences, coincidences, and untold alliances? It wasn't until the most influential figures in the church began to take notice of Prevost that the true scope of his ambitions began to unfold. Despite his youth and relative obscurity, Robert Prevost was groomed by the most powerful minds within the church. Mentors who held dark secrets of the Vatican's past, the occult rituals that formed the foundation of much of the church's hidden doctrine. It is said that Prevost's education was unlike any other cardinal's. Instead of focusing on scripture, he was taught ancient esoteric knowledge that only a select few could comprehend. It was during this time that Robert Prevost began to change, not only in his beliefs, but in his very nature. As the years passed, Prevost's ascent through the Vatican's ranks became a spectacle of calculated moves and uncanny timing. When the papacy of Pope Benedict XVI ended, the stage was set for a new leader to emerge. What seemed like a humble election of a new pope soon revealed itself to be something far more sinister. Despite his initial reluctance to enter the public eye, Prevost found himself with unprecedented power. His influence began to grow within the Vatican's inner circles, where whispers of his unconventional beliefs and secret alliances began to spread. But what most did not know was that Prevost had already made several key moves to manipulate the papal election to his advantage. Behind closed doors, it was said that he had cultivated relationships with powerful figures, not just within the church, but also in global financial sectors, political realms, and shadow organizations that have long been suspected of controlling the world from behind the scenes. Prevost's power was not gained through conventional means. His alliances were dark, and his actions were as mysterious as they were strategic. What had initially seemed like divine intervention was, in truth, a carefully orchestrated plan to reshape the church and the world, according to his own vision. Once Robert Prevost assumed the papacy as Pope Leo XIV, the true scope of his power began to unfold. Under the guise of religious reform, he enacted sweeping changes that seemed innocent on the surface, but were, in fact, deeply controversial. It wasn't long before whispers began circulating that Pope Leo XIV was not simply a man of faith, but a puppet master pulling the strings of a much larger, darker conspiracy. The truth about Pope Leo XIV's rise is far darker than anyone could have imagined. Behind his calm demeanor and composed speeches lies a man who has made secret pacts with organizations older than the Vatican itself. A shadowy network of elites, both religious and secular, have quietly supported his ascent in exchange for one thing: power. In return, Pope Leo XIV promised to bring forth the return of an ancient order that could, in theory, control not just the Church but the entire world. It is believed that he has access to a secret trove of forbidden knowledge, texts, and rituals that were long thought lost to history. These teachings, some say, could hold the key to controlling the human mind and spirit. But with this power comes great danger, for such knowledge is said to have been hidden for centuries due to its potential for destruction. What does Pope Leo XIV truly know? And what is he preparing to unleash upon the world? The Vatican has always been home to secrets that have been passed down from generation to generation. From ancient scrolls hidden beneath the Vatican library to cryptic symbols etched into the walls of its chapels, the Church has long guarded knowledge that could shatter the world's understanding of history. Among the many secrets, there exists an ancient prophecy that few have ever seen, let alone understood. This prophecy, hidden within the deepest vaults of the Vatican, speaks of the return of an unknown pope, someone who will not only challenge the current world order, but will be instrumental in bringing about the greatest upheaval the Church has ever seen. Could Robert Prevost be the fulfillment of this prophecy? Is he the one destined to unlock the hidden truths that will change the world forever? Or has he manipulated the Vatican's ancient secrets for his own purposes, seeking to use them for power and control? What's certain is that Pope Leo XIV is not the man he appears to be. The Vatican is preparing for a reckoning, one that will alter the course of human history. As Pope Leo XIV's reign continues, one thing becomes clear: the world is on the brink of a monumental shift. The decisions being made in the Vatican today will have far-reaching consequences not only for the Church but for humanity as a whole. The forces that have quietly shaped history for centuries are now in motion, and the balance of power is on the verge of tipping. But what happens when the truth comes to light? What will the world do when the secrets of the Vatican, the ancient teachings and the dark pacts of Pope Leo XIV are revealed? As the Vatican moves forward under his guidance, we must ask ourselves, are we witnessing the birth of a new age of spiritual enlightenment, or the rise of something far more sinister? The stage is set for a new world order, one that could either lead to salvation or destruction. It's up to us to decide how we will respond. The rise of Pope Leo XIV is not merely the ascent of one man, it is the beginning of a new era. An era where the hidden powers of the Vatican, the ancient occult knowledge, and the dark forces shaping the world's future will collide in ways we can barely comprehend. As the mysteries of Pope Leo XIV continue to unfold, one thing remains certain: the truth will be far darker and more dangerous than we could ever imagine. The Vatican has been guarding its secrets for centuries, but now those secrets are on the verge of being exposed. Will the world be ready for the truth? Or will we be left to pick up the pieces after the greatest revelation in history? Stay vigilant, because the shadows are watching, and Pope Leo XIV's papacy may be just the beginning.